Welcome to this edition of the Wonderbury podcast.
I'm Brian.
I'm Dave.
And you can find us online at wonderbury.com.
And I am D. Wonderly on Twitter.
I'm Brian Keysbury, anywhere the internet can be found.
You can leave us questions on our Facebook page. Check for the link in the description.
Or leave us questions on the website, too.
Yeah.
A handy comment page.
All sorts of handy stuff. We're everywhere.
Yeah. Everywhere. I didn't add a new podcast site this week.
No, but we have to add the link to the YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just a matter of getting a YouTube channel thing and link it up that way.
I'm like, should I Google that?
See if it works today.
Okay, Google.
With our track record of the last week, it's not going to work at all.
Reminder to add YouTube to Wonderbury page. Wonderbury patch.
When do you want to be reminded?
Tomorrow.
Okay, do you want to save this?
Yes.
Okay. Reminder saved.
Something worked.
One thing all week has gone right.
So how has your week
At least
been?
we got that on tape. I have that proof that something occasionally works.
Has it been rough for you too?
Yeah. The quick rundown. I broke my glass. $1,500 device. There's no warranty anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not a warranty anywhere close anymore. The whole project's been discontinued.
They still have people there. There was enough people there to tell me that they don't do service on them. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't service the device? The arm of it broke off. Oh. So that, it's got the piece with the battery behind the ear. The battery's broke. Battery's broke. It's hanging by one cable, which I think is the I think it's the wire for the bone conduction speaker. I might have to just hack it apart and do it myself, I think.
Well, if they're not going to service it, you don't really have too much of a choice other than that. Yep.
Really, really kind of disappointed in them. But it is what it is.
Yeah, not much else you can do.
Shorted our Nest out. The heater at the shop quit working. Guy did the repair on it. Gets it turned back on, and heat still doesn't work. And the Nest is acting all funky. Take the Nest off, put the cheap $20 thermostat back on. Everything works fine.
Oh. Damn.
Yep. And then Monday, I woke up and there was some water in the kitchen. I've got a nice bamboo shelving in my kitchen. It's got multiple fish tanks on it, and one of them was leaking. Had to make an emergency trip to the pet store and get a new fish tank. I don't usually budget for those sorts of things, so I try to budget for like new things, not repairing things I already have. So,
well, that's wonderful.
Yeah. And Instagram, at work we have like a hashtag competition kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And then we have a website that feeds images that have that hashtag off of Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, a site called Massroots, maybe Facebook. And Instagram just constantly keeps changing how they display images. So their images are a JPEG. But maybe. But they
Maybe.
it's a JPEG container with some I don't even know what like the .jpg, like what are those things called? File type names.
It's still a JPEG. It's just it's the
There's-
3 that's left over from earlier Windows where they wouldn't let you have file extensions longer than 3.
Yeah, so Instagram has theirs are encoded. They're like maybe 20 characters. And it's
Yeah.
random with every picture.
Yeah.
And it makes it impossible to automatically import or export things. And I've been battling that for weeks now, like trying to figure out. I'm essentially, at this point, I'm just like going and screenshotting them, like looking them up manually, screenshotting them, and then posting them to the website.
Technology, always changing.
Never stops. How was your week?
My week has been not technology and things breaking, but human beings breaking. So last week,
The singularity.
last week
is near, my
Thursday,
friend.
so not the 16th, but the Thursday before that. Mom was having some medical issues at work, so she went to ReadyMed, and they saw her for about 30 seconds and sent her to the hospital. She had a fever. She had a massive infection. They thought, well, back up. They thought she had a cough and everything. They thought it was pneumonia. So they ran the tests, and like when they think you have pneumonia, the best possible case scenario is you have pneumonia. If you don't, it's something a lot worse. She didn't have pneumonia. So I guess the scan showed a huge mass in her lower lung of one of her lungs. So they moved her from the downtown hospital up to the main regional one up north, from Parkview, Randalia up to Parkview proper, or whatever they call it now. Regional. Up north. And they found out she had this massive infection in her lung. So, which was the better of the two case scenarios, because the other option was cancer. It's pretty much not a third at that point.
Yeah.
So they started draining it, and they had her on super antibiotics, and it was growing faster than they could kill it with antibiotics and draining. So, long story short, here it is Thursday night again, and she just came home this evening. She's on short-term disability because of the infection. She has to go in daily into the hospital for kind of procedure and medication. During this whole thing, her blood pressure was spiking up into stroke levels. So she has a stent that goes from her right arm through her veins and into her heart to monitor everything, and also to get the medication to go in that she's got to wear for the next, 10 weeks. So that was all going on. So, obviously stress and no sleep inducing from that. And then on Monday night, Alice is coughing and wheezing and ends up throwing up. So we take her in, and she has croup. So we had a sick 2-year-old all week. And yeah.
I don't know what would be worse, a sick parent or a sick child. At least when Dominic's been sick, he's still been like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. I want to play." But
yeah, and that's the way Alice is that, you can tell that she's sick and not feeling well because she's kind of lethargic at times. But then she tries really hard to be happy, but she's just wanted to kind of lounge around and watch stuff on our phone and hang out real close. So that means I would like to take this opportunity to apologize that the behind the scenes was late by a few days. Because when you have a 2-year-old that doesn't want to leave your arms, it's a little hard to do some video editing stuff. So
You know what?
that will be up before Friday. And I apologize for that for this last week.
That
I mean, I know I don't have anything to apologize for because it's my show and I don't care.
I know it was late, but we got it posted on Friday, which was 2 days ago.
Yeah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Wink,
But the cool thing about Friday, too, is that the wife took the day off because it's my birthday, and we're going to go see a hockey game, and the kid is going to her grandparents for a couple days, so...
Happy belated birthday, Dave.
I officially enter my mid-30s.
Woo.
I'll be 34.
Dang. I just turned...
Yeah.
Yeah, I turned 34 last year, November. Same as 33. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, pretty much.
And even...
So, yeah. My week has been one of disease and sickness and... Oh my god, the world's falling apart. There was a period of 3 days where I had 4 hours of total sleep, or 4 days of 5 hours of sleep, or something like that. It was just... It was insanity, and it was rough, but we made it. We got through it.
Yep.
Alice is starting to feel better. Mom came home today, so we're good.
Good.
Yeah.
That's rough.
And for everyone that I know that had thoughts and prayers and meditations and whatever you do to honor and think about, I thank you. Meant a lot. All the messages and well wishes meant a hell of a lot.
I didn't even know.
No, you're not on Facebook.
Yep.
Well, technically you are. You don't do anything with Facebook. Put it that way.
I don't do a whole lot of stuff. As much social media as I know and do, I don't do much of my own anymore. I occasionally post a picture on Instagram. Although I have been Redditing more.
I've been Redditing quite a bit, and that's what we should do.
Yeah, we Reddit friends. Do we need a subreddit for this?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Well, I'll set up a subreddit tonight. That way, by the time this goes out, we'll already have it.
Cool.
So that'll be in the show notes. So look for the subreddit show notes.
Hey. Come upvote all of our stuff. I need the karma.
I've got tons of karma.
Yeah, I've been doing pretty good. I think I got the system figured out.
I had a link that went completely batshit crazy not long ago, so I have really good comment karma from a couple of Navy stories that I told, and I have a link that did surprisingly well. Let me see if I can find this.
I'm in an aquarium subreddit, obviously. Actually, a few of them. I've got one that's just aquariums, and I've got a beta one. I'm in an angelfish one. And when I do post, they do pretty good. But I've got some nice looking tanks I take good care of, so I think everybody in them appreciates that. The beta ones usually blow up because I've got 2 tanks and I have the potential to set up 9 more. So every time I post, I'm like, 2 of 11. There's 2 of the 11 tanks I'm gonna have set up here. Everybody's like, "Oh man, I can't wait! I'm so excited!" Like, yes, send me money.
Jesus, that's a lot of up. I haven't looked at this link in a while. This link has got a crack ton of upvotes. 24,000. Well, 24.9 thousand upvotes for the link.
Lordy.
Well, it was not long after the election, and there was a website, apply.ptt.gov, and I think it was technically... So, I posted as kind of serious. At the same time, I knew that I knew exactly what it was, and so it ended up being I got a crack ton of people to troll this website. So the website didn't specifically say that it was a job application to work the White House staff. It just was a comment, fill out your name and comments and all this information stuff. And it was labeled, "How can you make America great again?" So I posted it with the title, "With net neutrality about to be under fire again, President-elect Trump has set up a website asking how we can make America great again. It worked for the FCC, let's do it again." So
I saw that post. I think one of those was me. I think one of those upvotes was me.
So I posted that, the technology subreddit, and it completely exploded. Within 3 hours, it had been upvoted a few thousand times, and by the time that they deleted it off the page because it didn't fit the technology thing, I'd already gleamed 6,300 karma off of it.
Damn.
So my link karma is at 6,300 and my comment karma is at 3,700. But that's over 3 years of Reddit, so...
Yeah, I'm on a year of Reddit, and I'm at 796 for post karma and 436 for comment karma.
Nice.
So I'm coming along.
Yeah, I like Reddit. I will never, ever again in my life set up a user form. I will use Reddit from now on for any of that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that might actually be the best thing to do in the future for our stuff, too, is our new fancy subreddit, which you can look at our website for the link to.
Get the inside scoop on what we didn't do this week.
Exactly.
Give Brian friendly reminders.
That might actually be the best place for user interaction, too.
Oh, yeah.
Just have to make sure that I pin it properly. So I'll go ahead and take care of setting up the subreddit.
Okay. Show me how to use it.
I'll do that tonight before I go to bed.
Yeah. It took me about 6 months to figure out not to click on like the title of the post, to click on where it says comments.
Well, the funny thing is that it was almost 2 years into my Reddit time frame before I actually visited the website in a browser. I'd done everything from the mobile on Reddit, like almost the entire time that I've had it. And even today, I don't really do much with the browser.
I do. Sometimes posting images works better through the browser. I get a lot of broken links.
I found myself doing it a lot more since I've been using my laptop more.
Yeah.
Or my Chromebook more. So, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that was a good 20 minutes of catching up, and it's going to be the What Happened in Our Lives week episode.
Yeah, it's made me... For a long time, I've had this fantasy to be like a cyborg, a never-dying cyborg, which cracks me up that like we start the show off and we have like 4 leading zeros and we plan for enough episodes to last, well, what we did like a couple 100 years or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good. I really, really want to just replace bad parts in my body with robotic parts. And then
I think we're getting there.
This week I've been like, yeah, maybe I don't. Maybe I don't.
One of the problems with replacing, so, you know, the reason why you don't replace with robotic stuff or with anything like that is that your body breaks down over time.
Mm-hmm.
But so does technology.
Yeah, but I figure by the time I get to where I've got, you know, like say I've got a synthetic liver or some sort of mechanical liver, you know, if I'm wearing my glass and it pops up and says, hey, your liver's not working right, I can just be like, oh, boop, new one in, new liver, good to go. Let's go drinking this weekend. I just put a new liver in.
I changed the filter.
Yeah, change the filter. Let's do it. You know?
But as bouncing off your example, your glass breaks.
Mm-hmm.
And as newer ones of anything come out, the old ones cease to have parts built for them or any sort of maintenance or anything like that done to them. So now you're faced with the fun prospect and interesting thing of what do you do with the old defunct equipment when there's nothing left to replace out parts?
Okay, so I worked for a Ford dealership, and the owner of the Ford dealership had a 1916 or 1918 Model T.
Yeah.
When the Model T came out, they didn't really have batteries. They had salt cells, like in a wooden box, and it just wasn't the power to run anything. In fact, most of the stuff on the Model T, besides the wood panels, it was just not viable as an option anymore. But he still repaired it all the time and still drove it.
Yeah.
And myself and the mechanic that I worked with, we got to do the upgrade when we put a new battery in, and that involved us doing some pretty heavy rewiring of the whole car, but we were able to put in a new battery, and then just rewire the rest of the system to work off of that battery. And I use that as my best example. It's like, so yeah, maybe the style of liver I have now, it goes out, or maybe myself, like, oh, I'm a defunct model, I'm out of date, but that's how, I mean, a lot of people that work on cars do that. You see a lot of old hot rods, but a lot of them work on newer parts. They modify parts, and
yeah, I guess there'll always be a way.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes you think about, old and defunct technology and even digital stuff. What happens as codecs will change over time? What's going to happen to an entire legacy of stuff?
Yeah, I wonder that. I'm like, what's going to happen to all the stuff I have on YouTube? My 30 some thousand pictures in Google Photos. What happens to the podcast when we both die?
I keep downloading. I keep a digital copy, and if something starts to go defunct, I guess we'll just change the codec and all of it and re-upload.
Yeah.
But it happened. It happened with. You go from the old reels to the Betamax and VHS wars and up to the DVDs, and it always has happened. I mean, you even see it on the web, stuff that you would have, the old Angel Fire and GeoCities pages versus what you can pull off with Squarespace, for example. It's absolutely amazing.
And like the things that WordPress can do is still amazing to me. And
to think that WordPress is built, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely love WordPress. WordPress is absolutely amazing. But if you go digging through the back end of it, it is archaic compared to CMS that's out now.
Yeah.
And it's not just because it runs off of the PHP. It's just that backbone was built so long ago, and it's archaic compared to what you can pull off now and today.
Yeah. I keep looking at Shopify. I keep trying to change our system at work because we run on Microsoft Dynamics. And
yeah.
From 2007.
Well, and people don't realize, you say 2007 and people are like, that wasn't that long ago. And you're like, dude, that was a decade ago.
It was a decade ago.
This is a decade-old technology.
Do you know how much stuff has changed, especially in this last decade?
Oh, man. It's unbelievable.
Man, it's Shopify. Shopify is pretty cool. It's a shopping cart website that it looks like it's built kind of like WordPress. So there's all the different plugins.
Yeah.
And people can make their own plugins and their own themes, and it looks like it works nice. And from my experience with WordPress, I mostly like WordPress. I hate it as much as I like it, though.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I'm at with it. It's that I absolutely love it for what it is. It's gorgeous. It's perfect for what it does. But if you spend more than 10 minutes in the back end and know what you're doing, you want to shoot your computer.
Yeah. And that's usually what happens. That's usually where I get to. Like, I'm like, oh, making posts. Making posts is easy. It's so nice. And as soon as you want to change a color of something,
yep.
Kill somebody.
Well, yeah, because every section, and this is where it becomes convoluted for people that don't understand what I'm talking about. So, as they change and upgrade parts of WordPress, those new parts and pieces get their own CSS files. And then there's a CSS master file that in theory should override and control most of everything, but each underlaying new part has its own custom name schemes. So you end up, to change one thing, it could be in 8 different files.
Mm-hmm.
And no one knows how to comment anything out to explain what exactly each section does. Because, that technology hasn't been there for 30 years. But
that drives me insane. I do that all the time. I leave like trails of things. And whenever I'm working on somebody's site and I have to modify something myself, I always put Brian's right in front of it. And I'm like, this is Brian's version of this section of the site. That way, when somebody gets there and they find it, they go, oh, thank you, Brian. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for cleaning this up.
You can always tell my code, like every time I'd upload something, my diff page would be, I would change 4 lines of code and there'd be 20 lines of differential. Because I would meticulously document everything that I do in comments in the code, where it was going, what it was accomplishing, just because it's a courtesy. That way, when someone else down the road comes along and goes, what the hell is this? Oh, that's what this gibberish is for.
Yeah. When I quit because I get sick of working on WordPress and somebody else has to take over, they're going to figure it out pretty quick.
I read somewhere, write all of your code as if the person replacing you is a psychopath with a knife who knows where you live.
By the way, Dave.
Yeah.
I don't think I did much of that on our site. I think I hacked some stuff together, but it's Blogger.
It's Blogger. We will be upgrading from it at some point, sometime. We'll start with Blogger and eventually we'll get to something nice. I've got some ideas of where I want it to go, but
I'm actually surprised at how well it turned out for being a theme that we stole from somewhere and then just hacked it together.
Free open source theme that's hackable. Yep. I like it.
I was like, oh. And then I was like, you know what? I've never done this on Blogger before. Let's see how this works. And just started digging in. I'm like, oh, neat. Can I change this? Like, oh, sure I can. And I was just like, oh, hey, look, I changed our menu.
But yeah, I think wrapping it back around, I think the key to not dropping off in legacy land and fading away is maintaining current. Keep maintaining. If something comes out and it becomes a standard, switch to it. Don't hold off. switch to the standard. And if you have a large library, which I'm sure that at some point WebM and MP4, well, H.264 is going to get replaced with something better. I mean, there's lots of stuff. Google's got a whole pile of stuff in the works that I know of. You know, it doesn't take much to download it, re-encode it, and re-upload it with whatever the new standard is. And if you don't put it off forever, then it's not as big of a, well, it's still a huge task, but it's very proactive. It's something that you've got to be proactive at, and you've got to be on top of. Otherwise, stuff will get lost in the shuffle.
There's a program called Handbrake.
Oh yeah,
and
Handbrake is awesome for that.
I ran into that the other day. What was it, 2 episodes ago, where I ran out of space, and I have a terabyte of hard drive space in my laptop, and I had 43 kilobytes left. I was trying to do something that just kept giving me an error, and I'm like, what is going on? What is happening? And I'm looking at, and I look up the error, and I'm like, what? I'm out of space? What? No way. Go and look, and sure enough, pulled up the properties in File Explorer. It's like 43 kilobytes left. So I had a Sony point and shoot camera that did 3D video, and I had a folder of 3D video in a format called MTS. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't upload it. YouTube didn't recognize it. Google Photos kind of, but when I uploaded them, they got super blurry. So I was like, God, what do I do with these? And I had this program. When I do video in Reaper, I usually export it as a AKV.
Right.
Usually, because that exports in the best quality out of Reaper, and then I use Handbrake to convert it into an MP4. And I was like, well, I wonder if it recognizes these stupid Sony files. And sure enough, I opened it up, loaded the folder, and it had my MP4 settings from rendering Reaper files. I was like, start, and it converted my whole folder in like 4 hours. It was amazing. It was probably 50 hours of video, and I was just like, what? Sweet.
I gotta say, one thing I've been really impressed, and I know a few weeks ago we had a whole, this is why we get frustrated with Apple tangent, but what they've done with QuickTime and keeping legacy support for QuickTime inside the codec is absolutely brilliant. Mm-hmm. Like when I export all of the BTS episodes, and for future shows that I haven't announced yet that we'll talk about here in the next few weeks that I'm looking into doing, all of my archives is all in QuickTime Video. And that's just because I know that unless something massively changes at Apple, as long as there's something that can play a .mov with a QuickTime codec, it has support for everything. I mean, the original MOVs from the mid-90s are still playable by anything that has the QuickTime codec installed. It's phenomenal. They massively did that correct.
Yep. Same thing with their audio codec, AAC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's why AAC codec is still used. Even MP4s use encodec with the AAC, because it's the codec itself. Everything legacy, everything that's ever been AAC will always be able to be played by anything that can play AAC.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. They did it, and I got to tip my hat to them. There's a reason why they are the industry standard for audio video stuff. That's why everybody buys Macs to do it.
Yeah.
Because holy cow, they did it right.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that I'm glad they didn't keep Mac only.
And they need to get a little better about being open, like share, like
They'll get there. They'll get there. I mean, Microsoft's been around for how long? And they're just now getting there.
Yeah.
So I think as time goes, Apple will get there. I think they're about 5 years behind Microsoft on, if you look at their trends and how they go, they're about 5 years behind. We've got to get someone else in charge over there at Apple, but think the next person, we'll see Xcode open up outside of Macs. We'll see a lot of this other stuff, Swift, and a lot of this stuff that would be really awesome.
FaceTime and iMessage.
I would use FaceTime and iMessage if they were available on Android.
Those, holy crap, yeah.
I would have them on my computer and I'd have them on my phone and I would use nothing else but them.
Yep.
Well, I'd still use Telegram, but for my standard, iMessage would be it.
Mm-hmm.
It's phenomenal.
So you want to...
But...
You know, I have this fascinating love of Reaper.
Yeah.
I've
noticed.
I've been So one of my requirements when I was looking for a video editor was the ability to export to WebM.
Oh, yeah.
And Reaper does that.
Nice.
With an Ogg Vorbis audio codec.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
The last week's podcast episode that I put on YouTube, I rendered to WebM with an Ogg Vorbis audio. Nice.
Yeah, I've noticed that the BTS episodes, there's a little bit of processing time to go from the QuickTime to the WebM, but I trust for personal archiving, I'll go ahead and let YouTube re-render it out as needed. Yours is a little bit more because you're uploading it to multiple different places, so you got to find something that's perfect for all of it through.
Yeah.
But, and I have Fios, so it doesn't take long. Takes me...
I have Comcast, so sometimes it takes me 59 hours to upload an audio file. An audio file.
Oh, that was so funny. That was so sad.
And I thought, that's got to be wrong. Is it ticking the minutes like seconds? And I sat there and I'm like, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. No, minutes aren't ticking. Minutes aren't ticking. That's literal time.
Oh.
Thank you, Comcast. You know, and I said, I could put this on a flash drive and drive it to you quicker than this. And as I was coming home, I was thinking, you could live in Washington State on the other side of the country.
You could get on a plane and fly it to me faster than it would upload.
Yeah. Like, oh, why? Why 59 hours? It wasn't even that big, was it?
I don't think so.
That's what she said.
No, that's your problem then. Anyway, we're pushing close to 35, 40 minutes on this thing, so.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Legacy. If you want to know how to deal with it, it's simple. Proactive. Don't get lazy and just let it go, because otherwise you'll have such a pile of backlog that you won't know what to do with.
All of a sudden your hard drive will be full and you're like, what do I do with these files nobody supports?
Do what I do and buy a 5 terabyte external drive that you just dump everything on.
I've slowly been upgrading my Google Drive account and everything's going in there.
Yeah, I think I might start doing that with some of the archive stuff. I might just, the way I have the file schemes, I'll just zip it all up after every so often and just upload it.
That's what I started doing. I cleared up a couple 100 gig pretty quick, just going through all my old music projects.
Just Wonderbury archive folder and just dump everything in there. Especially with some of this other stuff we want to do, we'll have some more content, and I've already got a terabyte full out of my 5.
Yep, we're gonna fill some drives.
Oh yeah,
looking forward to it, folks.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited about what some of the plans that we've got coming up. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Speaking of which, do we do some Minecraft tonight?
Probably not tonight, just because everybody's been sick forever. And I've been sleeping in 2 to 3 hour increments because 2-year-old. I know. We keep pushing it off, but I had all intentions of staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning Minecrafting with you tonight, but
It's all right.
I don't know if I can stay awake long enough to do it.
I've been thinking about building a trap.
So
I've been considering that. Well, no, I'm not going to give that away. It's going to be fun.
Well,
first episode's going to be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about it in the after show. But till then, thanks guys for listening.
See you next week.
See ya.